Hi Aries, this is your astrological prognosis for the year 2012. For any one of you who have their ascendant, their moon or their sun in the sign of Aries. And I always recommend you always find out what your ascendant sign is. Not only the sun sign that everyone knows, if you're born in April, you're Aries. No, actually you have a much better prognosis the way professional astrologers do it if you listen for the prognosis for your ascendant sign as well. And you can find your ascendant sign, if you don't know it, by going to my website astrolada.com. There is an ascendant sign calculator. You need to know the time of your birth for this, and once you know your ascendant sign, mark down the exact degree, and also listen to the prognosis of your moon sign. Is just as relevant because the moon shows our emotional world. It shows our mind, how we perceive reality, and that's the most important actually when it comes down to yourself, because this is your own perception, and the moon will show how events pan out also in your life. So if you don't know your moon sign, find it out by going to my website astrolada.com. Again, enter the time of birth and you'll get the sign of the moon, mark down the exact degree, and everyone knows their sun sign. Then you just, when you're listening to the prognosis of your sun sign, like your Aries, you're born in April or probably March, just listen to hear the exact days I'm mentioning as well. But now I'm talking generally, for the whole 2012, what is coming in front of you, Aries, whether you have your ascendant, your moon or sun sign. And basically we always place the sign that we're talking about, and now we're talking about Aries. So we're placing always the moon or the ascendant or the sun sign in the first house. This is the wheel of the horoscope. This is like the moment how the stars look from the earth. It's a big circle around us, the skies. So right now we're talking about the sign Aries, and whether you have the ascendant, moon or sun there, we put them here in the first house, and we're going to see how the stars are affecting, how the planets are affecting it, and the planets that actually shape the most our reality, the movers of shakers of our destiny, are Jupiter, as I've written here, the planet Jupiter, which gives expansion where it passes. It gives things with ease, and it's Saturn, which is just the opposite of Jupiter. Wherever it's passing relative to the sign we're talking about, it gives effort. Things have to be done in the hard way. It gives contraction. It gives cleaning away of old things and necessary. Jupiter. Well, the planet Jupiter, the one that increases, that gives with pleasure, gives with ease, wherever it passes, the areas of this house are quite positive. And since the summer of 2011, Jupiter has gone into, here it is, Jupiter is passing and is influencing the second house from the sign of Aries. Here it is, it's passing here. And basically what it does, it brings expansion to this area of life. And second house is material, financial circumstances, the resources that we actually have at our disposal. And usually, especially if your ascendant is in Aries, your moon as well, and with the sun you'll feel it, but the ascendant is always the strongest. So people who have their ascendant in Aries, they've been feeling probably little by little from this summer more that it was easier for them to find resources for the things they want to do, whether it's financial, whether it can be moral resources, like friends helping you more, being there for you, like being able to find money to create something as well. And it gives expansion in the financial resources. And Jupiter continues to be there in the second house, expanding your resources, expanding how you deal with financial matters, giving probably new opportunities in financial matters. It's really good, very positive. It's going to be there till June. And after June, the Jupiter is passing here into it's going into your third house from Aries, and when it goes into the third house, it's going to expand the areas of this house. It's going to keep there with ease. And third house is the house of the mind, is the house of communication. So your mind will get much more active and curious. You might get much more involved in mundane affairs, listening to the news, actually starting to be much more communicative with others and trying to express what you think, like what your ideas are, express better and with more ease and with more pleasure what you're thinking, you know, especially if you're someone more shy. This will bring you, you know, more trying to be much more communicative as well, you know. Basically, I had Jupiter in the third house for me, from my ascendant this year, and what happened is that I went to no networks. I expanded my networking with Twitter, with newsletters, with basically with Facebook, you know, and it can happen the same for you from June onwards when Jupiter goes into the third house. Your communications will expand, you'll get your, with other people, maybe your correspondence, you'll be writing more letters, you'll be on more networks. If you have a business, it's a great time to expand it, to promote it, you know, over such networks, communication networks. New opportunities will come for you there. And it's also the house, this is also house of learning something new, learning new skills. What happened with me when Jupiter went into my house, third house this year, you know, I'm talking from my experience, that I found a new teacher, amazing teacher. If you've been looking for someone to teach you something, now it's gonna be the time from June 2012 onward. And also you can learn new skills. Maybe some of you can start learning a new language. Maybe some of you will try to expand their knowledge on something, improve, you know, for improving your career, you know, for technical things as well. Anything that needs skill and quick mind, it will come with ease to you. And third house is the house of courage as well. Is the house of initiative, getting things done by your own effort. And when Jupiter goes there from June 2012, believe me, you get more initiative. Actually, you can start your own business. You can feel much more courageous to do things that you never had the courage before. I keep repeating, Jupiter expands, it gives with ease. When it came into my third house, it was a year ago, as I keep saying, I started, my business started expanding. I was really much more, I got much more courage to do the things I was afraid to do as well. And the last most mundane thing that the third house rules, that Jupiter will expand when it gets there from June 2012, it's siblings. For instance, when Jupiter was in my third house, my brother's life got much better than before, you know. I know it doesn't affect you personally directly, but when you look at your siblings, you feel happy for them. My brother's life got better. He got a lovely property. He got a new girlfriend, a new wife, you know. All his problems finally finished. So if you have any problems with siblings, you'll be able, or relative for this matter, you'll be able to resolve them from June onwards as well. Okay, this is so far for the good house, you know, for the good planet Jupiter, how it's been affecting, how it will be affecting 2012. And now let's go to the more difficult planet, Saturn. And Saturn is the planet, as again, as you see here written, of effort and contraction. Wherever it passes, relative to the sign that we're talking about, which is Aries this time, is going to give difficulties. Everything that's been swept under the carpet will come to the surface, and all the poisons will come to the surface. And Saturn, for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, Saturn moves very slowly. It has been passing over here, over the 7th house, the one opposite the sign of Aries in Libra. It's been passing there for the past almost 2 years, and it has another 7-8 months, no, actually 10 months to stay in till October 2012. And 7th house is the house of relationships. So Saturn has been testing the relationships of a lot of Aries, especially Aries ascendants and Aries moon people, you know, because the ascendant and the moon, they have more relation to personal people's relationships, you know. So maybe a lot of problems that you've been trying not to face before in relationships, they're coming to the surface. Maybe some of you have been cutting off people from your life that are no longer necessary, that are deadwood, taking them out of your life, you know. And this tendency will continue for another 9-10 months till the end of October approximately. And it's also, Saturn makes you to sober up and grow up in the area of life where it's passing through. So no, it wants a no-nonsense approach. So no more carefree attitude in relationships, you know. You become serious about your relationship. You don't want the guy who's just calling you for a booty call at night. You cannot be satisfied with that anymore. You want serious, demanding things. And people who have been too free-caring, too carefree about their relationships, they're going to have it quite hard, the hardest awakening, you know. Maybe they'll have to cut off those people from their life. and become more respectful towards themselves. Re-examine what they need from a relationship exactly. Re-examine what will make them feel secure and happy in a relationship rather than be taken, used and advantage of, you know. And also 7th house is house of business partnerships. A lot of you have been re-examining probably their business partnerships, whether they're equal, give and take. You know, Saturn is a hard taskmaster. And also if you, any kind of relationships that you've been having for the past 2 years, you have to work much harder at them. You know, things don't always flow. You have to put effort. You know, always in relationship we have to put effort. But when it's Saturn affects us, it's always with much more awareness we have to put there, much more focus. You know, so 7th house affairs, and who will actually feel it the most? This kind of contraction. So also you can cut, as I keep saying, contraction in relationship. You don't let any kind of people close to you. Just choose 2 or 3 people that stay close to you. Or if you've been having a few boyfriends till now, you choose just one, you know. Or you just focus your attention just to one person and try and work hard on these relationships and how you connect with them. As I keep saying, throw out the rubbish from your life when it comes to relationships. Throw out those things that are no longer productive for you. That's why it can be very painful. Usually someone can leave you as well in your relationships when Saturn affects, because if you're not aware enough and trying to work consciously on these issues and trying, you know, to cut off the chaff from the wheat, what will happen is that from outside your partners will leave you because they're no longer necessary in your life. They just, you know, actually they've been stopping you from finding your real path in life, you know, from finding your real happiness. So fate will take them away from you, you know. And who will exactly feel it mostly? Because Saturn's been here already for 2 years almost. And now for the last 10 months, for the first 10 months of 2012, Saturn will mostly affect those people, those Aries who have their moon or ascendant from 20, here I'm writing moon or ascendant, from 20 degrees to 30 degrees Aries. It's mostly those people because Saturn has already passed from the first 10 to 20 degrees in the past 2 years, and it has only 10 degrees left. So these people will feel the cleansing of their relationship, the seriousness of relationship, maybe people going away, you know, you sticking just with one person, trying to work hard on the relationships, and those relationships that are not authentic, those relationships that are not good, they will pass away from your life now. Business partnerships as well, you know. And or those people who have their sun, and the sun is the date you're born, who have their sun from basically the 11th of April till the 20th of April. These people who have from the 11th till the 20th of April, they will feel the strongest, this contracting influence of Saturn. Also, it's also isolation a bit, you know, maybe you're not going to be communicating with so many people you're used to, I mean, not communicating, but interacting personally one-to-one, you know. Also, it's testing influence as well. It's testing not only on your relationship, but on yourself. It has a contracting influence. Those who are born from the 11th to the 20th of April to October 2012, it's testing period. I'm one of those people. It's testing period for us, for definite, you know. Saturn will require you to work hard on yourself, to look deeper into yourself, to examine what you really want out of life. Sometimes at the beginning of such transit, you get very critical towards yourself, and you get very hard on yourself, and you start comparing yourself to others, and you say, oh, I haven't achieved anything, I'm so bad, or you start being grumpy at the smallest hurdle. But Saturn is there to give us a backbone. Otherwise we'll be marshmallows without Saturn if everything was going easy, you know. It tests us how determined and resolute we are on our path in life. And this is the time that will be tested now. Those people with those moons and ascendants, or the sun from 10th till the 20th of April who are born, you know, and it has a lot to do with interaction with others. Believe me, I want to kill some people these last days, you know, and it's going to go on till October, and they're really pressing my buttons, but I have to face this, and I have to overcome it and control it. Yoga is helping, perseverance, and usually when you have Sun-Saturn influence, Moon or ascendant, life gets harder, gets a bit slower. It just requires a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, you know, a lot of just grinding down, plowing through, keeping your nose to the ground, being realistic and practical, and knowing that at the end of the tunnel you will see the results, but usually not before, you know, Saturn. When Saturn gives results, it slows them down and requires a lot of effort. But anyway, enough of Saturn. And after that, sorry, let me tell you that after that, Saturn from October is actually moving into your 8th house, Aries. And it's going to be there for 2.5 years. And 8th house is the house facing your demons. Actually now, from resolving your relationships for the past 2.5 years, from October onwards in 2012, you will have to be facing your own demons, 8th house. This is what it is. Fighting the, maybe getting rid of old, unnecessary habits that you've been having. Those who have their ascendant in Aries will feel particularly strongly this, you know. Maybe you're getting rid of some old habits, maybe evacuating some poisonous energy in your life as well, you know, maybe skip between smoking, drinking, you know. It's fine. It's the 8th house is the place of a battleground. It's in astrology we call it the place of battleground, because the house of devil and death, because you face your biggest fears there and you overcome them. Something that is controlling you. The 8th house is the house of Scorpio, of control. So if there were things that have more control over you than you have over them, from October onwards to about 2015, I think, or 14, or 2014, you will be fighting with those things that control you, so you get more liberation. It's usually quite daunting and scary, but, you know, Saturn has been affecting my 8th house for the past 2 years, counted from my ascendant. And what happened is that I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking. You start battling with yourself. You want to take your control back. You don't want to be the one who is being controlled by certain circumstances, you know. So even though it's hard period, it's very liberating to some extent. And it's probably some of the darkest periods in your life is when Saturn goes into the 8th house, because, I mean, facing the devil, come on. But once you've been there, you have no longer fear of the devil, you know, and you're liberated. And expect, so you have to put effort after that on the battleground of dealing with certain things and powers that control you, or people that control you. This is where it's going after that. In 8th house, Saturn contracts also what it touches. An 8th house is the house of shared resources. And when it goes there from October for 2 years, from October 2012 to 2014, your finances might decrease and can be a bit contracted. So you have to pay more attention to your finances. But this is not exactly your finances. These are shared finances from partners. Remember how 2nd house, when I was talking about it, was about your own resources, having your own resources, which are being expanded now to about June? Well, 8th house is the resources of partners. For instance, business partners, they might be having difficulties. Or, for instance, your marriage partner, they might be having to cut corners, you know, so you have to help them, you have to be there for them. 8th house is also the house of taxes, so make sure you start sorting out your taxes when Saturn, you know, so Saturn doesn't catches you red-handed, because Saturn punishes, it doesn't forgive. You know, Saturn never overlooks anything. Anything that's been under the rug from October this year, Aries, you've been doing anything with taxes, not properly looking into your business finances, Saturn will take it out of the service. Maybe the tax company will come, or maybe, you know, you start seeing that your company hasn't been run properly when it comes to finances, you know. These are shared resources that you have to with others. And also you have to be aware that you will not be having access to the resources of other people in your life. Maybe to banks, it might be much harder to get a loan. It might be much harder to get you know, if you're expecting your partner to get increase, you know, to be helping you, you'll not be able to rely on others for support. And that's why you really, while Jupiter is now in your 2nd house and it's helping you to June, make sure you really accumulate your resources and put something safe on the side. So when Saturn comes in your shared resources from October, you will not be able to get any support from outside for about 2 years, you know. You have to rely on yourself. So just keep this in mind, Aries, you know. And then something else interesting, where Uranus is, I haven't mentioned them as the bigger shaping events, or Uranus here, but actually it brings sudden changes in your life. It brings a desire for liberation and desire for breaking the law, so to speak, and desire to breaking free from any limitations. So it can be quite rushed when you have Uranus affecting you. And Uranus will be affecting those of you, Uranus, here it is. Those of you who have their moon or the ascendant from 0 till 9 degrees in 2012. 0-9 degrees in Aries. All those of you who were born from the 21st till the 30th of March. They will have Uranus influence. What it means, and Uranus is passing exactly over any planets, or Uranus is exactly here in the first house. And what it means is like sudden change. If it's your ascendant or your moon, you might change your hairstyle, you might cut your hair short, or change how you dress, you drastically lose weight, or just the opposite, hopefully not, change your image in some way, and you just go wild for a bit. People will be looking at you saying, what's happening with her? I didn't expect her. She was such a shy girl, and it's like sudden changes for you. And also when it's the moon, it's your emotional world that is changing, and the moon also signifies, if your moon is from 0 to 9 degrees Aries, you can change place of residence very suddenly. So the moon, if you have your moon in Aries, it shows the moon is the home, the place of living, And the moon is also female, so your relationship with females can become very suddenly changed to some way, And also, if your moon is from 0 to 9 degrees Aries, it's very possible in 2012 that you have, especially if you're single, that you have people suddenly walking into your life, beginning a new relationship very fast, Maybe you can become smitten overnight, because moon is your emotional world and Uranus is like electricity there. You see someone, you're like, you're lost for words, and you're saying, that's it, And you're willing to leave your relationship if you're already in one. Be careful, because Uranus can make you do crazy things that you didn't expect you to do before that, And when Uranus comes, you're willing, as they say, to throw the baby out with the water. So be careful, especially if you're in relationship. When Uranus comes over the moon, you can have some disruptions in the relationships, either because you meet someone new suddenly, or because you want to have more freedom. Uranus is planet of freedom. It needs space. It needs it needs space to get to know itself better, to follow its individual path, because Uranus wants you to be authentic with yourself, and especially if you're in a relationship that is a bit stifling for you, that is curtailing your freedom, you might feel quite, willing to break it up and do something crazy, to hurt the relationship. Or you might be having to travel a lot, so the relationship has to be on and off, long distance. Or you attract relationships in your life with the sun and the moon from 0 to 9 degrees. All the sun who are born from the 21st to the 30th of March, relationships that are on and off, distance, connected to distance. You'll not be there fully, you cannot be fully connected to the partner. There is something that is destructive in the relationship. And those of you who are born from the 21st to the 30th of March, having this Uranus influence as well, they will feel a great surge of energy and ideas, because Uranus is like a lightning. So they might have a sudden awakening in them, like electrifying energy. Life is changing big time for them. Big changes of their identity, of their goals, because the sun rules goals and where we headed in life, our ambitions. And with Uranus, you might have to change this to 180 degrees. All of a sudden, overnight, you wake up and you decide to do something completely different, for instance. So or if you've been feeling that life is too constricting on you, and you've been trying to always take into consideration others and be responsible for them, now you would want to do just the opposite. You would say, I'm finally following what I want to do, I'm not going to care about anyone else, and that's it. Well, basically, I hope you're getting the point, Aries. It's quite complex, it's never too straightforward, but if you have any ascendant, moon or sun in Aries, these are the big topics that you're going to be experiencing in 2012. And always check the 3 signs, ascendant, moon, and sun. If you don't have time to listen to the 3 videos, at least always check your ascendant sign. Always the ascendant sign, because this is how, if you came to a consultation to me, how I was going to tell you what's going to happen to you in your life, you know. Anyway, Aries, thank you very much, and I will see you next month.